The thing I love about Malcolm so much is that he was man enough to grow and say, I was wrong. I'm a change.
Right.
He took that journey. He came back a changed man, which just lets me know that we can too. But I absolutely agree with you that there's a lot that Malcolm said that people who clamor all over him when he was a radical, when he was, that in his later years, they wouldn't F with. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
We got Boondocks back. He was like, oh, nah, I know they coming back. I know they go,
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
I think
right,
that was definitely on my end.
Oh, was it? You said it was or it wasn't?
It was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. This is this is going on YouTube too, so yours will have a part 1 and a part 2.
Okay.
I'll make sure I send you the link for it and all of that good stuff. We got cut off because of audio issues. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Melissa was giving me her 5 people that she would sit down and have a conversation with if she could, dead or alive, real or fiction, and she was saying it was her father.
Yes, my father. I have no memories of him. Well, I have one memory of him, and I was little. He was supposed to take me and a cousin to buy a pair of those. If you ever seen those little plastic high heel shoes that little girls wear when they're playing dress up, he was supposed to take us to the store. I remember us being in the store looking at them and him saying he would take us back to get them the following week when he got paid, and he got killed before he could take us back. And that's the only memory I have. I can see him in my head and everything. And I thought I had made the memory up until a cousin confirmed that, I was with you and I was looking forward to them shoes. She was a couple of years older than me, old enough to remember. So I would definitely talk to my father. I don't know a lot about him. The only stories I really know of my father came from my siblings. And we all know that kids idolize parents who aren't around. Yeah. So I don't know if a lot of the stories I've heard about him are legit or whether they are people putting him on a pedestal. But everything I've heard from everyone who's ever talked about him is that he was a mean son of a gun, but that he loved his kids. So I would like to talk to him and find that out myself. My second one is Malcolm X. I don't think I got really to say too much about the why. I don't think I need to say too much. But real talk, I didn't develop my love for Blackness and Black people until I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And there's a book of Malcolm X's speeches that a friend gave me when I was 19 that completely changed my life. So I would love to talk to Malcolm X.
Okay, real quick. I haven't studied Malcolm yet, right? Because I'm really into the journey of self. I'm trying to figure out everything in here.
Understood.
Right? And Malcolm is a heavy topic, right?
Yes.
But I will say this. Malcolm got me in some trouble. Right?
Me too.
Because Malcolm got me in some trouble with our people. Malcolm did a talk or interview, and Malcolm was dogging the Democrats. He was going hard, right? And I had already started researching, because the one thing Trump did for me was wake me up to politics. I was like, oh, hold on. I got to see what all of this is about, right? And I came to the realization. I was like, hold on. This whole Democrat thing ain't perfect, right? And when I saw the Malcolm thing, I was like, oh, I could post some of this stuff on Facebook. Oh, boy. I was all types of coons and Uncle Toms and Uncle Ruckus. And I was like, hold fast. I just got a different opinion of things.
See, this is the thing about Malcolm that I wish more people would really focus on. People tend to pick and choose which parts of a person's life they want to recognize and hold up as glory. Like, the thing I love about Malcolm so much is that he was man enough to grow and say, I was wrong. I'm a change.
Right.
He took that journey. He came back a changed man, which just lets me know that we can too. But I absolutely agree with you that there's a lot that Malcolm said that people who clamor all over him when he was a radical, when he was, that in his later years, they wouldn't F with. You know what I mean? They wouldn't have anything to do with.
Right.
Because he came back and said, nah, not all white people are devils.
Right.
I was wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the fact that he could hold the views he held and then come back and say, I was wrong. That's what really drew me to him. But he got me in trouble in school because
Really?
I had to do a book report and we had to dress up like the character. And I dressed up like Malcolm and I dressed up as Malcolm, the drug dealer and pimp.
Mm-hmm.
And I took tobacco out of my mama's cigarettes and sugar and put them in a bag. And somebody told the principals that I had drugs, real drugs. And I got in trouble. Trouble.
Bitches,
Yeah.
bitches,
Yeah.
bitches.
So, but yes, I am a huge Malcolm fan. Martin too, but Malcolm all the way. And I would love to have a conversation with him if I
Martin, actually, Martin, which I've only seen this on YouTube one time, they probably took it off. Martin got to the point where he was like, look, dog, I'm going to DC to get my check. And soon after that, Martin wasn't around no more.
Yeah. And the thing about him is that they kind of changed and see, Jamal said it perfectly. He said hero worship is a blind spot for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Like they both kind of changed kind of in opposite directions. Martin started off docile and got frustrated and angry and was like, F this. And Malcolm started off frustrated and angry and became a little softer with knowledge. And so that's my whole point is like, we can take a little bit from everybody. We just got to really, but we got to know a person's whole story before we can call them a hero or our, who we idolize, that kind of thing. Right. So that's Malcolm is my dude.
So hold on, before we go to the next one.
Okay.
My wife said, she said, yay. So that means we can do the other topics because the time starts over, right? So if you want to roll,
I'm good.
We can roll.
I'm good. I'm good.
I ain't got nothing else.
I'm good. We can roll. I kind of thought we might be doing this anyway, so I'm good with that.
Cool.
All right. So number 3 shouldn't be a surprise to anybody either. Maya Angelou. And I'll tell you why that she's so important to me and my poetry. There's this running idea within the poetry community that people who rhyme are less talented than people who don't. Mm-hmm. That rhyming is elementary, simple, doesn't take a lot of talent kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And Maya proves that wrong. Like her stuff rhymed and it was very simple rhymes. They were very, very simple rhymes, but they were beautiful poems. And that coupled with her life story absolutely makes her my poetic idol. She is the one that I looked up to, that I first began reading. Phenomenal Woman is one of my absolute favorite poems in the world. So yeah, Maya would be number 3. Absolutely. Okay. Cried when she passed away like she was my auntie for real. No lie. Number 4 would be Oprah Winfrey.
Ooh, why Oprah?
Man, I love that woman. And people get down on her and call her so. Oprah came from nothing. Do you hear me? Nothing. Dirt porches, raped, abused. At one point, she tells a story about how she wasn't allowed to sleep in the house as a child, like a little small, and had to sleep out on the porch because she was dark skinned. Mm-hmm. And Oprah's one of the richest women in the world.
Right.
And she did that. Like, she didn't have big conglomerates behind her. There's people that's going to scream Illuminati or she sold out, whatever. At the end of the day, that sister decided for herself what she wanted to be, and she became it.
Right.
And the other thing about her that I love, that I used to hate, but I've learned that she's right. She does not feel obligated to take care of anybody but herself and the people she loves. Mm. We often say stuff like, and not that she doesn't give to charities and stuff, because she does, but she knows the power of no.
Right.
She knows the power of my space is my space and you're not taking that from me.
Do you see what he just wrote?
A mess. When I tell y'all,
so when I post this, it's not going to show the comments, right? So Boondock Saint 0920 said Oprah is thick as hell too. Yes.
He's a thick fiend.
BBWs. He's into the big. So.
He is a thick fiend, y'all. When I tell y'all, and if you're not a friend of him on Facebook, he's Jamal St. John. He posts a lot of in-depth stuff. Yeah. But thick fiend, stuff like that, ridiculous. But he's right. That's the other thing.
Once we're done, he's the first person I'm gonna go.
It's hilarious. He's hilarious. But that's the other thing. She was a big girl too, and she did most of that. You know what I'm saying? She didn't let that stop her. And so Oprah, absolutely, my number 4 is Oprah. Now my last one, Chels, I kind of cheated a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little bit. It's not a person. Okay. It's a group of people.
Okay.
It would be a collective of ancestors, both related to me or not, who have crossed over to the other side.
Okay.
and because I want to know their journey. I want to know their story. Like I revere the ancestors. That's like, I tell people all the time, I'm not religious. I'm not, but I revere my ancestors. Just recently, my niece, who is my brother's daughter, and she's actually his stepdaughter, so these are not her blood relatives, right? She went on to Ancestry.com and found a photo of my grandmother's mother that I have never seen, and her 9 siblings that I did not know she had, because I just don't know that much about my father's. Like, I remember her, I grew up with her, but I don't know a lot about her family.
Right.
And so she gave me that gift, and it just sparked this desire for me to know. My grandmother that raised me passed years ago, and one of my greatest regrets is that I didn't get family history from her. You know, so my advice to anybody listening, so you don't have to wish for a collective roundtable of ancestors, take advantage of the people who are here, who know your family story, who knows your family's history, and get that information. So you can have that for your children. So you can have that, and not just the easy ancestry, like ask the hard stuff. Ask them what they thought of the civil rights movement. Ask them their opinions of Martin and Malcolm if they were that old. You know what I mean? Just get the stories, get their perspectives, because once they're gone, they're gone. Or they're scarce, or there's, you know, it's hard to find. So that would be my number 5, a collective roundtable of ancestors.
So that makes me think about my writing process, which I haven't written in a long time. So we both.
I got questions for you too.
We both. I know you do that, and the joint cut off, so you cheated me twice, because I was going to take one question to get out of there. Like, oh, let me get out of here. What?
I have 3. I have 3.
Okay, but no. So there are times when I have written, and at first it was like a game, right? And I would be like, okay, I know you guys are here. Give me this line, and it would drop right in.
Ooh.
Right? And I realized, like, wait a minute, like, this shit is real, right? And so that's why in one of my songs, I say, ancestors looking down, pumping blood through my crown, right?
Yes, Lord.
And I wrote that. That's the only song that I wrote after I went on the reel. The whole album was done, right?
Wow.
I came back from the reel, and I was like, and one of my producer guys hit me up. I didn't even know him. He just hit me up. He was like, I want you to have this beat. And it was perfect. And I talked about my journey to the real.
Yeah.
And that whole time, that whole journey to the real and all of that, I felt like the ancestors, the spirits, they were there. It felt like some Black Panther shit. Black Panther shit. And I was just like,
real talk.
Yo, this is crazy, right? So the ancestors, that's a really good answer. Which it makes me want to ask you. So Lily says the TV show. So I was on The Real.
Yes.
If you go to YouTube and you put in Marcello Bradley, The Real, it'll come up. MARCHELLO, Brad, LEY, The Real. It'll come up. The clip is short. I have a longer version on my hard drive and stuff like that. But and I'll talk about that when somebody interviews me. But the ancestors.
I volunteer.
I'm sure you do. You and Libby and some other people. So I might do. What I might do is, if I can, this is a quick idea. If I can have it set up so that I can go live and have everyone who wants to ask me something or wants to
join. That's a great idea.
We shoot the breeze. I got an hour. I had to shut it down. We come back. You log in.
That's a great idea. Right? That's a great idea. But I'm asking my 3 tonight. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, I know you're gonna get your 3. It's all good. But I got another one for you, which kind of, it wasn't a part of my lineup.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens after we leave the physical vessel? What do you think that's about?
I swear, I that's another one I don't have a solid answer to, but I certainly feel like we become a part of everything. And I'll tell you what helped shape that for me. It's crazy. It's going to be crazy. Have you ever seen the movie Powder?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't watched it, but the movie is probably 20 years old or so. So if you haven't seen it by now.
No, that's your fault.
Sorry. But watching that movie was the first time I felt like I understood what could potentially happen, that you just become energy.
Right.
And you just become a part of everything.
Right.
There's a part of me that believes in reincarnation,
Mm-hmm.
only because I feel like we have to repeat this journey until we reach the right enlightenment, and then we become that energy of which I speak, where we become a part of everything. When we become, because to me, that's God. Okay. To me, God is not a figure in the sky waiting to beam people up when they die. I just don't believe that. For me, everything is God. I'm God. You're God. Nature is God. And so I feel like, yes, and you're God too. I feel like when we reach the right enlightenment, the right level of enlightenment, and I feel like every journey we take here on earth or in whatever role we take gets us closer to that if we do it right, if we are constantly learning and evolving and becoming. And so I think that the pinnacle is that becoming, is that becoming a God, is becoming a part of the eternal. And that's the only way I know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it
Did I
any
ever
other way.
tell you about what I call my near-death experience?
No.
Okay. I don't know if I want to do it right now.
Okay. We can talk though. I would love to hear it.
But okay, so I consciously don't remember ever having a near-death experience. But when I was maybe like 2, I had an ear infection. They gave me amoxicillin. They found that I was allergic to it.
Oh, darn.
I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And there's that aspect of my life, right, which is true, but I don't remember it. But then I have this memory of being with the light, and I have no idea where this memory comes from, right? And it's a very short memory, but the light is infinitely massive. Like that's all there is. It's just light, right? And the memory begins, it's very short. The memory begins, and the light says to me, I'm a part of the light. I'm with the light.
Right.
It's like the light's talking to itself. But I've somehow detached
tapped
myself
in.
from it a little bit.
You tapped in.
To be able to turn around and be like, oh, hey, there's a big light over there, right? And the light says to me, are you sure you want to go back? And I'm like, yeah, I want to go back. I'm trying to go back. Send me back. Memory done.
And that's it.
Right? And ever since I was a kid, I always had this idea that I made a deal with God. I'll go back if you allow me to keep a piece of this memory. And I think that's why I still have that. I think whatever God is, it's holding true to that. Like, I promised you would be able to keep it. You can't remember everything before.
Right.
Holographic fractals. Right. We're all it. Right. And so that's something that has always sat with me. And so to be in a situation now where with the fasting and the running and the meditation, I just recently started praying again. It's like I get the same feeling that I was when I was with the light.
The light.
But I just can't see the light.
I got goosebumps, yo.
Right? I can't see the light. And it's like I have to close my eyes. It's like, and if you think about the Bible, before the light, it was dark. So I have to go into the dark to experience whatever that was. God's first state is darkness. Right? That's what I tell you. Don't be afraid of the dark. That's really what you are. That's what you come forth from, the nothingness, the blank, the void. And so now I'll just be driving and I'll be like, gosh, like I'm still in the light. I just can't see it.
Yeah.
So
wow.
I don't know. That's my thing. I agree with you. I think that we all, I think we're in the human form. We are, what's the opposite of expansive? Whatever the opposite, we're contracted.
We're contracted,
right?
Yeah. We're contained.
We're contained, right? Like the energy, the energy that is you and I is all around, right?
Yeah.
But there's an energy concentration here.
Absolutely.
It identifies. It does this day in and day out, right? It's like, oh, I really am Marcello, right? But when the physical vessel dies and that energy is released, it's like a raindrop going back into the ocean. Like, oh,
ocean, yes, Lord.
I hold the sharks.
That's exactly right.
I hold the
That's exactly right. That's exactly how I feel.
Right.
That's exactly how I feel.
So that's deep. What was the other? Oh, hold on. Boondock said, so getting then it brings you closer to the light. Don't go into the light, Melissa. Don't go into the light. It's a train. It's a train.
I cannot.
Come back.
No, it's on Instagram. Oh,
so
too funny.
So real quick, I'll tell you something funny I told Libby the other day. Libby asked me something about who created the world or something. And I always, with my kids, I like to leave them nuggets. And I was like, well, you did. She was like, me? I said, yeah, you did. She said, no, I didn't. I said, yes, you did. You just don't remember. Because at some point, hopefully, she'll come to the realization that there is no separation between me and that which they taught me.
That's right.
God.
That's exactly right.
And
exactly
you don't want to
right.
run around saying, I'm God, but God is you. God is the puppeteer. Yep. We are the mere puppets. And if you would just relax and let the strings do what they do, everything will be okay.
Yep.
That's just
I agree. I'm with you on it. I'm with you for real.
Okay. The atom only manifests itself when viewed. Yeah, that's quantum physics, where they talk about how without a conscious observer, reality is different than what we perceive it to be, which is crazy, which means if I open that door right there, whatever's on the other side of that door isn't really.
And it's that whole premise of if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, doesn't make a sound.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
Right.
It's the same concept. Yeah.
So let me scroll through right quick and see if anybody else had. If anybody got questions, you're more than welcome to chime in. George, we love you too. I know you had said that you love us.
Yes. I didn't see that. Hey, George.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to focus on the conversation more than the comments. Tell me again who this creator. What did I say? Can you see that? Who is this creatures? Are
we saying? I'm not sure I understand the question word. Can you rephrase it for us?
Yeah. Who is this?
So much while we're waiting, can I ask you a question? Can I throw one of my questions out there?
Yeah, I guess so.
They're not hard. I didn't come for you. I didn't come for you like you. Yeah, I'm not coming for you like you came for me all hard in the beginning. We're gonna do that. It's an easy one.
Okay.
This one I think is a softball.
Okay.
If you could have any career other than the one you currently have, what would it be? Or would there be any?
If we're only talking about the career and me picking the career doesn't change any real other aspects of my life.
Nothing. Just the career.
I would be a ball player.
Really?
Basketball is probably my first real love.
I know you played. I didn't know it was that deep.
I absolutely love basketball, and I don't watch it that much now. But there's nothing, and I'm a shooter, right? So I'm 5'10". I'm a skinny person. I have big feet, so I was never really fast or quick or super talented. But I could shoot the rock pretty well. And when you are a shooter, you rely on your teammates and your mind to get you your options. And so you can see the play develop before it comes. And it's that anticipation. Once again, it's a metaphor for the darkness. I can see it coming. I'm in the darkness, but I can see it coming. And there's nothing like, I don't know, starting on the right wing and running off the double screen on the baseline to catch it in the corner and knock it down. And you saw that 4 seconds ago. So
never thought about that.
Yeah,
that's dope.
I love hooping.
I understood his question now. I understood what he was asking.
Okay,
and I think what he's basically saying is that if that's true, and the atom is only manifested when seen, and the sound is only heard if there's someone there to hear it, then who truly is the creator or the creatress? And it would be us. It would be that we are God, which is what we've kind of been saying. Yeah, right. I get it. Sorry, I didn't understand before.
Right. They say, I listened to this philosopher named Alan Watts, and he says that, and I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about, but he says that the reason that light exists is because of eyes. So if there were no eyes in the universe, there would be no light. There may be heat, but our eyes turn the sun's whatever into light. So it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a co-mingling of energies that's creating
Yeah.
a holographic experience that we all have.
Yeah.
Boondocks Saint, I have a question for Melissa. What is her favorite poem she's written, and what would she say is her favorite performance or feature?
Ooh. Okay. Favorite poem. That's a hard one because I have a few. Queen is one of my favorites. I think Queen is when I stepped into, I can do this poetry thing for real. That's when I kind of knew. Proud because it honors my mother.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had to pick like an all-time favorite, it would probably be Dear Sister Sarah. And it's my poem that that talks about Sarah Bartman and her body and how I relate because I share that body. So that would be my favorite poem. My favorite performance or feature, it would be my feature in, so the place that was my home stage in South Carolina was called Poetry and Pancakes, and it shut down. And I ended up going to an event in Savannah, Georgia, and that became my home stage. So when I released my first CD, Just Me and a Mic, I had my release party in Savannah, in a way. I had two of them. One was in Manassas and one was in Virginia and one was in Savannah. But in Savannah, I had standing room only. Like, they were turning people away at the door. And it was the first time as a poet I felt like I was loved, like superstar love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because I felt that way, I showed my ass on that stage. And I knew I did. Like, I killed it. And I knew I was killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that energy is what I seek now. That's the high I chase, right? So that's why I call that my favorite, because the way I felt that night is how I want to feel. And not just how I felt, but like the feedback I got from the crowd that night. Like, I had men coming up to me telling me that they wanted to learn more about Sarah Bartman, or telling me when they heard of her, the first time they heard of her, when they studied her, what they knew about her. And it showed me that when I'm passionate, I can inspire people.
Right.
So Savannah, Georgia, Spitfire Poetry Group is the group there. That's where that would be my favorite.
Okay. Lily wants to know, if you could perform anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Africa. I don't care where in Africa, just Africa.
Africa's a big place.
I know. I don't care where. I don't care where. It don't matter. I just want to step on that soil. I would love to perform on that soil. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think it was another question, but wordplay for you to hear said, there is no day or night, right or wrong, truth or lies, even though most perceive the sun setting and rising. Yeah. There is no, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. It's all relative. I mean, and I think even from a scientific standpoint, that's what Einstein was trying to tell us. Like, you know, what you perceive as an hour, someone else's experience of that time lapse is like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And so what you perceive as heaven could be somebody else's hell, and right and wrong, and black and white.
Absolutely.
And all of that good stuff.
Absolutely.
What's your second question?
So Kai Malay Star Child just joined, and I just want to say hi and tell her how much I love her, for real. My goodness.
Oh, okay. It's all good. Hold on. So my boss, my supervisor.
Oh, yes, I saw that. She's right.
Is telling me to get to the topics on the paper.
She right. We forgot.
We did forget. Let's talk about well, I tell you what, Lil. Lil, put the topic that you want to hear. Do you want to hear her talk about marriage? Do you want to talk about her loyalty to Black women? Or do you want to hear her talk about the Black family?
Kai, I have not gone skating yet, and I blame Mo. So Kai Malay began skating, like roller skating.
Mm-hmm.
because it was just something she wanted to do. And I used to be like a skater back in high school, and I've wanted to go ever since, and I've not yet gone. So that's why she's asking. But I love you more, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get there.
Okay, cool. Let's go on. Yeah, if we have time, if she's willing, Lily, she could do a poem.
I'll have to read it. I don't have anything memorized. I'd have to read it, but I do have one I can read.
Let's talk about the Black family. Lil says she want to talk about the Black family. I don't have a particular question about the Black family. But I want to hear your perspective on the Black family from a historical perspective and the Black family moving towards, the present moment and where we are now.
I feel like y'all go deep, man, for real. I feel like the Black family is essential. It's necessary. I feel like we're in trouble. I feel like we've been in trouble. I don't feel like we've ever really been allowed to be what we need to be. But I feel like we have some outdated views of what family is, what the roles are for family, which just makes it harder for us to come together as a family. Mm-hmm. But I think if I had to encapsulate how I feel about the Black family in one statement, it would be that there is no one way to do family.
Right.
For me, I don't have any biological children of my own.
Right.
You can't tell me my godsons are not my sons. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me my grandmother was not both my grandmother and my mother. You can't tell me that my sisters are not both my sisters, my mothers, and my friends. Like, family is being connected, being there for one another. Child, you're my family. Like, I feel that in my heart. You are my brother. That is just what it is. Right. Lily is my sister, period. So my view of family is different. Now, I will say that my view of family is probably different because I've lost a great deal of my family within my lifetime. Both parents, all four grandparents, several aunts, uncles, my niece, all within my lifetime, all that I remember, all whose funerals I can recall in my mind. So I'm not talking about people who died before I was born. I'm talking about within these 50 years of my life, I've lost a lot of people. Right. So I've had to redefine what family is. So for me, the Black family, it's struggling, but it's persistent. We are a resilient, persistent people, right. And we will be all right. That's what I think about the Black family.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I'm proud of the Black family.
Me too.
I know that in the media and stuff like that, we get a bad rap for a lot of stuff. But from and maybe what's the word? How do you say anecdotal?
Anecdotal.
Anecdotal. Poet. The rapper would say anecdotal and make it rhyme.
Make it work.
Right. Answer total. I'm off the photo or something. But we're doing good.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I look around, I'm like, shoot, people living in nice houses, going to work, driving nice cars, and we're getting into the investing thing. I think we're doing a good job of so my dad was born in 56, my mom was born in 59, right?
Okay.
And so Van Jones, I'm not a CNN fan in any way, shape, or fashion, right? Van Jones said something one day that blew my mind. Van Jones said I was the first person in my family born with all my civil rights. And that shit made me think, wait a minute.
Wow.
My dad wasn't born with his civil
rights. That's deep.
Right?
That's deep as shit.
I'm like, hold fast. Like, that's crazy, right?
That's deep.
And so that helped me to learn to better understand the platform that I get to jump off from. I get to jump off from a higher platform. They did what they had to do so that I can be where I'm at now. And because of that, it allows us, our generation, the opportunity to invest in stocks and crypto and real estate and do, Instagram stories and all kinds of crazy stuff. And so that's a salute to those that came before. And I think that a lot of us have progressed really nicely. I was telling my man Wiley's a police officer and a minister. I was telling him, I saw the stat, and it said 94% of Black married couples are not in poverty.
Right.
So the solution to a lot of, because a lot of our problems come from poverty, right? Yo, man, we gotta find a way to keep the family together. Even if it's not marriage, it has to be a single unified unit with a mission.
And I think, and that's exactly my point when I say family looks different. Like, and I want to acknowledge what Honey Wordsmith said, because she said, "You are my sister because I've told you things I don't share with anyone else." I've never met her, but Honey and I've had conversations where we share things with each other that we haven't shared with anyone else. Like, to me, that's family. And I think we have to understand that, like, collectively, we have a collective family as well as our immediate and intentional family. So, and when you look at it like that, yeah, we do real well. With all the odds stacked against us. Yeah. For real, we do well. We do
really well. We've infiltrated a lot of different sectors, you know, policing, the criminal justice system, teaching, and I think that sometimes gets lost because we have differing views and opinions, right? So, like, I'm not an Oprah hater. I'm not necessarily an Oprah fan, right? But I hold Oprah. Same thing with Barack Obama. I can pick Barack Obama apart on a lot of his policy stuff, right? But I still have to hold you in a certain regard up here because you still us. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And, and any conversation that needs to happen, it could happen, you know, between us. You know, there's that shared understanding. And I think too, it's the fact that it's something that we tend to do in our everyday lives, and we tend to certainly do it as a community. We can acknowledge that we still have a long way to go on a lot of things, right? Yeah. But we can acknowledge at the same time how far we have come and be proud of that. And that's where I sit. Yeah, that's where I sit. I agree. And I think because the human brain has a negativity bias from not getting eaten by a bear in the woods when you were trying to catch a fish, we look at a small negative percentage and turn that into the whole thing. And it's like, no, a lot of us are doing really good. We're raising, you know, a lot of Black men are raising their kids. They're doing what be done. So kudos, soft clap to a Black family.
Yes, indeed.
Let's talk about your loyalty to Black women. Because I'm going to tell you this, right? I'll be like, I bet she loyal to Black women to a fault. Like, she ain't clowning no Black. It could be terrible, right?
Let me tell you something.
You know, you're not going on social media and putting them on blast.
But I'm not going to do that to Black men either.
Right.
So let me say this. Here's my thing about loyalty, right? I think loyalty and respect go hand in hand. If I can't respect you, I'm not going to be loyal to you. If I'm not loyal to you, then I probably don't respect you. Nicole, hi, my best friend from Virginia.
Hi, Nicole.
So loyalty to me, like, I'm very loyal to Black women, because I am one. Like, how dare I not be, right?
Right.
I'm very loyal to Black men because I come from one. Like, how can I not be, right? I just don't understand not being.
Right.
But for me, Josiah. But for me, loyalty means, it's the same way I feel about this country, to be honest with you. If I can't point out your faults to you, then I'm not being real. And I'm all about being real. So I will never say Black women are perfect, because we ain't. Black men aren't perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Right.
And I'm able to say where we get it wrong. That's what I was saying in the first part. Don't turn that on. I was saying that objectivity is important to me, to be able to see both sides of a coin, because if not, then my view is skewed and therefore it's not correct. Right. So I will call out a Black woman if she's doing something wrong, but I also believe in doing so lovingly.
Okay.
Right. So my best friend, I'm glad she came on when she did, because she was the person that pointed this out for me. And I'm not going to get this quote 100% correct. And I don't know who said it, but it's something along the lines of brutal honesty is veiled hostility. Something along those lines. Like, you don't have to be brutal to be honest. I can be honest and do it in a caring, loving, kind way.
Right.
I don't have to be brutal. I don't have to be petty. I don't have to be nasty.
Right.
So if you ever see me, like if I ever have an issue with a black woman, I'm handling that with that black woman if I can, right? If it's a meme on social media or a what if scenario, I probably won't engage at all.
Right.
Because I find that a lot of those are created just to cause dissension. A lot of that mess that you see on social media, the what ifs, that is just to get people in an uproar. It's not even true. It's not real. It's something that they've made up, like all of that. Right. And so I just don't engage. I just don't believe in putting people that I care about in ugly positions. I don't believe in doing that. Right. I can't say I care about black women, and then just because a black woman does something I don't like, she suddenly becomes my enemy. She is not. Black men are not. I'll give y'all a classic example, and I caught hell for this on social media. People love to body shame Wendy Williams.
Okay.
Now, I get it. Wendy Williams is a vile character.
Yeah.
I don't deny that.
Right.
But if I'm going to say we can't body shame people, Wendy is a person.
Right.
We don't get to just body shame. We don't get to just not body shame the people we like. If we're saying body shaming is wrong, then body shaming is wrong.
Right.
And as much as I dislike Wendy as an individual from what I've seen, because I don't know her, but from what I've seen, as much as I dislike it, I'm still not going to resort to that kind of ugly against a woman. I'm just not going to do it.
Right.
Trick Daddy was another one. Now, I will admit I got my giggles. I'm human. I'm not always right. But I felt really bad about the people making fun of his appearance, knowing that he has medical issues that caused it. Now, do he say stupid shit out his face? Yes, he does. Right. All the time. I don't like him. But am I going to, like, make a lot of fun of? Nah, not. I mean, I might fall into that hole and then catch myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as a whole, I try not to do that. So I am very loyal to black women because I am one, and because I truly do believe that saying that black women, thank you, Malcolm, are the least protected women on the planet. And as a result of that, I can't add to any shame or weight, any burden that they carry. So,
Honey Wordsmith said he has lupus.
Yes, he does. That's it. She said that's the honesty without compassion is just subtle hostility.
Honesty without compassion is just subtle. You know what? That's true.
It is.
True. And because whenever I have to figure out if something's true when it comes to something like that, I have to do it to myself. I have to think,
yes.
Was I ever honest with somebody, not in a non-compassionate way, and was I hostile? And the answer is yes.
Yes, because if not, then you don't feel this need to be snippy and mean and just boom, boom, boom. Like, I get people who say I don't sugarcoat. You don't have to sugarcoat it. Yeah. You can just not coat it at all. You can just leave it there. You know what I'm saying? You could just, I don't know. That's a big thing for me. So I actually had someone ask me the other day, and it's a meme that's floating around. Like, what is the meanest, coldest thing you've ever said to a man? I don't do that. I don't treat people like that.
Right.
I can't think of one mean, cold thing I've ever said to a person with the intention of being cold or mean. I don't do that. Right. I don't do that. If I got to treat you like that, I just remove you from my life. I don't need that. And I don't want to be the person that treats other people that way.
Right. So what was your, let me go through these right quick. So we got probably another 20 some minutes.
Okay. I got 2 more questions for you. So
I know you do. I'm trying to burn time so I don't have to answer them.
We're all for that.
Rudeness is a weak man's imitation of strength.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, I agree with that. Hold on, I gotta adjust again. I gotta try and stay in the loop here.
In the frame, yeah.
Yeah, I think we hit on everything. You want to talk about marriage?
We can.
What's the second question for me?
I don't. My second question for you. Okay, you tried to throw that in there before I could catch it.
I might go back to marriage.
You tried to throw that in there before I could catch it, but I caught it. Your children and marriage aside, what do you feel is your greatest accomplishment?
Ooh. children and marriage aside.
Because I know the kids and the wife are like on
Yeah,
the very top of your
yeah.
list, so that's a given for me. I don't need to know that. I know that.
So I'll tell you this. I'm not a producer, so I don't really make beats, right? But I recorded, I wrote, recorded, mixed, and mastered the whole God's Lyricist album.
By you yourself?
Yep. It's a track or two. It's a track or two on there that was pulled from a group project, and my cousin was doing a song, and I put his on there. But that album has 14 songs. I mixed and mastered every single one.
I did not know that.
And it was the most tedious, painstaking process. And that's one of the reasons I have not done anything.
Anything since?
That joint took everything out of me. But I couldn't make an album, title it God's Lyricist, and not put everything that I had into it. Now, I know that Parallel Universe, which is my first album, probably gets more attention, right? Because
that's mine. That's my favorite.
Yeah, because it's the first one. Parallel Universe was about the search, so it's very open-ended. It's a lot of questions. You could see that I'm searching, and in God's Lyricist, it's like, I got it. Let me tell you this shit.
Got it. Yeah.
You think?
Yep.
Malcolm,
yep.
right? Matter of fact, if you listen to Revelation is the intro to God's Lyricist, and I mentioned Malcolm on it, and I'm trying to think of the line, but I mentioned Malcolm on it because that's how I was feeling
at the time
when it came. I didn't, and I remember one of my mans told me, he was like, "Look, man, however you feel, spit it. No, we don't care. Just come with it." And so yeah, God's Lyricist is a crown jewel, even though Time Myth Theory is my favorite Chell song.
Josiah, no. Josiah,
stop it.
No.
No, Auntie's gonna get ya. Auntie's
no, not at all. Turn it off.
All the way off.
Or go in your room. Okay, he's a TikTok head. Okay.
Oh, for real?
Oh my God. I joined TikTok so I could stay connected and make sure he's doing the right thing. And now I'm a TikTok head. And I just watch. I don't make videos that much, but I watch. So he's trying to make TikToks in the hallway, which is what y'all hear. But Honey asked if your album is available. Now, I know that I have a lot of tracks from Amazon Music.
Mm-hmm. So my albums are on all the streaming platforms. They're on iTunes, Apple Music. They're actually on YouTube. My stage name is Chell, Chells.
And I'm going to tell y'all, if you are looking for, and I mentioned this earlier, if you're looking for something to hype you up, on his album Parallel Universe, there is a song called Number One Contender. It is unlike anything I've ever heard. And I all I can tell you is to go find it and listen to it. Like, real talk, it gets me through so many moments. Many moments.
People love that song because I think most people feel like they're the underdog. But you said something earlier that kind of connects with the music, right? And the growth part of the conversation too. There's really nothing on Parallel Universe that I regret, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some shit on God's Lyricist that I'm like, man, I don't even feel like that no more.
Really?
Yeah, man. And or I still feel that way, but the hostility isn't there. And if I could go back and say it, because I mean, I ain't gonna lie, like I'm hard on Black people because I believe in us. I don't think we need this help. I'm like, we can do this, right? Like we're no different than anybody else out here. We can do this. And when you're an artist and you allow that anger and that frustration to come out in words, it doesn't always come out in the most compassionate form.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, and so
I got poems like that.
I kind of, sometimes I'll listen to it and I'm like,
yeah. I've got poems that I said I would never perform again. Yeah, I've got poems that I'll never perform again. Because they were they were written from a place of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
And what little, although the RBG might give it away, your girl used to be what is commonly known as a hotep.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
I was deep. And so I have a poem. As a matter of fact, I think it's on my first CD, Wonder Why They Call You Nigga.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going at black folks.
Right.
But I'm going at black folks like they call you that because you act like that. And they call you the B word because you act like a B word. And I'm just like, yo, like, did I say that? Yo, like me? Me? Yeah. So yeah, I'll never perform that piece. So I feel you on that. But that brings me to my final question. Since we're in this, let me just ask it.
We getting there.
And I know you said that you don't really listen to your stuff, but which of your songs is your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
My favorite. My favorite is not the best one.
Okay.
My favorite is Time Myth Theory.
Really?
I could listen to Time Myth Theory every day for the rest of my life and be like, this is some new shit. Because typically when you make music or art, right, you're doing it from a factual or opinionated standpoint. This is the way I see it. This is the way it is in reality, right? I made a song about time not being real. And I'm still in amazement that I took something that doesn't exist. It's a mental it's just a concept, right? Because time isn't even something tangible to talk about.
Right.
And love is something that we all feel. So it's a little bit easier to, to put into words, right? The idea that I am an eternal energy experiencing the passing of the physical universe. And that passing of the physical universe, yes, Time Myth Theory, is an illusion. And I was able to do that. I listened to that song and it still blows my conscious mind. That's how I know I didn't write it from my conscious mind, because my conscious mind doesn't get it. It's like, what? Time doesn't exist? I watched the apple rot. I watched the grass grow. I watched myself get older. I seen Libby. I was there when Libby was born. She's born
and now she's
dead. Time passed, right? But the entity that is experiencing life as Liberty has experienced no time.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a disillusion to think that it's experienced time because that body has, but it is the same.
Which brings us back to what I said at the beginning when you asked me, how does it feel to be 50?
Exactly.
I don't feel like I've lived 50 years.
That's why I named my baby girl Infinity.
Infinity. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like it all intertwines. And so Time Myth Theory, right? Dear Mama, I Ain't Tupac is
one of my favorites.
My mom cried when she heard it. My wife cried when she heard it. My best friend cried when he heard it. So I know that joint, and you cried when you heard it, right? I've only cried to one of my songs though, and it wasn't that one.
No.
I cried to Vision Pain Rise, which is the one that I performed on the reel. But the reason I cried to that one is because so my uncle passed away of cancer some time ago. He's a very soft-spoken, kind-hearted man. And I remember he was I don't know if he had a picture or something of the like the Egyptian hieroglyphs and Anubis and all of that. And I was listening to it on the way to work one day, and I felt his spirit, his energy, and it was like, oh, this is the joint he like. And I don't cry that often, and it just hit me. And I was like, wow, this is his joint. And I'm terrible at remembering my own. I say at the very beginning of the song, I say visions like a modern day ancient Egyptian, the pyramids in my the pyramids in my something, a monolithic. And it was just like, wow. So those are the ones that really I hold really near and dear
to your heart. That
To
makes
my
sense.
heart, yeah. And then it's some other joints where I'm like, ooh, that shit was nasty. Like I killed them on that joint. But that I'm like, man, that's nothing. Let me see what we got. Boondocks, I saw her post a video of a poem on her page called Big Booty Judy or something like that. It was great. That she had time to perform that tonight. And then, so they want to know if you can perform Big Booty Judy.
I can do that.
That time is really just an illusion, linear in form, lacking dimension, carefully designed to keep you moving. Yeah, that's dope. You should hear my poems. Okay, cool. All right, so poem time, right?
Poem time. I can do that. But I will say the poem's name is not Big Booty Judy Jamal St. John. Don't make me come for you. The poem is titled Rear View. My name is not Judy. And just to give y'all a little bit of background, sister is blessed with a really big booty. Always have had it. Always get a bunch of ugly attention for it. One of the things I've learned in having the booty I have, especially in today's world, is that a lot of women want it because they don't know what comes with it. As with most things, we want what we think we want until we get it. Be careful what you wish for. So this is my response to those women. Rear view, my name is not Judy. Apparently, this sister never heard the ancient Chinese proverb that says, be careful what you wish for. She looks at me intently with a noticeable hint of envy and says, I know you've probably heard this before, but God damn, I wish I had an ass like yours. I mean, it's so big and round. I know men find that thing impossible to ignore. And all I could think to myself was, sister, are you sure? Because if you knew even a half of what I've had to endure, you'd probably change your mind. It's no cakewalk having this much behind, I promise you. It's not all you expect it to be. But she ain't hearing me. She's exhibiting the same behavior of the annoying neighbor who's wanting to borrow a cup of my ass like it's sugar. And I'm trying to tell her that ain't a damn thing sweet about being dogged by catcalls as I walk down the street, having to go Sherlock Holmes on every dude you meet, trying to detect whether his interest is based on lust and lies. So there is a definite downside to having this much backside. And sister, you'd be wise not to covet, because you're less likely to make peace with it the more they keep asking you for a piece of it. And I'd honestly love it if I could make it through a day without some random ass dude having something salacious to say. Hell, after a while, even the compliments tend to sound bogus. My eyes are also big and brown, but no one ever seems to notice. Some days the shit feels hopeless because nowadays it's damn near impossible to meet a man who doesn't think that lusting me is mandatory and loving me is optional. And I know you think you're showing admiration, but sister, whew, a bigger ass was never meant to be a woman's biggest aspiration. The width of my hips should never get more attention than the depth of my conversation. I shouldn't have to question whether brothers are so nice to me because my ass is so mean. And I shouldn't be so damn tired of hearing, how'd you get all that ass in them jeans? And let's not even talk about finding jeans, because that's a whole nother poem. As if it has never occurred to them that the words used to address my curves often come across to me as unappealing. Yes, baby got back, but damn, she also got feelings. And that's what far too many of y'all seem to forget. Brother, I could be the woman of your dreams and not just the ones that happen to be wet. And sisters, I am a damn good friend, but you too busy clutching your man when I walk by, worried that he's gonna look at my rear end. And yet, folks say I've got it misconstrued. They got the nerve to wonder why I have an attitude. I mean, I clap back and now I'm the one that's being rude. All because I called your unsolicited commentary completely fucking unnecessary. So for the record, I got these jeans from Jean. In other words, I get it from my mama. Credit her and the gods for all this booty. Got every person I meet referring to me as Judy. See, the frame my mama gave me seems to make y'all forget the name my mama gave me. And that is not Judy. It's Melissa. So, sister, here's what I suggest you do. Be careful what you wish for and just work what your mom gave you. And that's that. Thank you.
Is that what
Thank
they
y'all for the
in
hearts. I see.
the
In the
poetry
poetry,
world?
right. Thank y'all. That is whew, that's one of my favorites too. I could have named that as a favorite because I get to lay it all out there because that's been like I'm odd in that way. A lot of women want that kind of attention, right? I don't. I've never liked that attention. That's why I never show my body for real. Even now, I struggle with showing my body. And so that poem lays out exactly why.
That was
Thank y'all so much.
I won't. Yeah, they going crazy in the comments. I'm not gonna try to put a word to it because I think putting a word to it would devalue it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna watch this.
And that's I do want to start doing more. Like I haven't really performed in a long time, and I really do want to start doing more IG lives with my poetry. So if anybody out there that's watching has a show or wants to, I'm willing. Just let me know because I don't know where to look. I don't even know where to start. I haven't done it in so long. But Crystal said something that I have to absolutely speak on. She said it's really annoying because I did nothing to get it. Talking about that attention, like people with the bodies that from what I saw on her live, she got it too, right? The bodies we have, you can't hide it. You can't hide these curves. I can't. I don't care what I put on, you're going to see them. But people just assume that everything I wear is because I want attention. If I take a full body picture, they assume I want attention. So dudes hop in your inbox or they make, stupid comments under your pictures and it gets annoying and it's offensive and it is, it can be painful. So I try to speak about that a lot in my work. So I give a voice to the women that people don't know exist out there. We don't want it. We don't like it. We are more than what you see.
Right. Yeah, I'm all out. Somebody said go live on your page, Melissa. Do your poems on your own IG.
I could do that.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
It just feels weird to me though. That feels weird to me. Like even doing Facebook Lives, which I'm enjoying. I've been doing them. Oh, I didn't even talk about the glasses thing. Just for anybody real quick, I am an ambassador of sorts for some eyeglass companies, for Zulu.com. And I have another one in the works that I'm going to be hopefully representing. I've been going live to do those. And that's a little bit different because I have a purpose. I think it would feel weird because what if nobody's watching and I'm just sitting there spitting poems to myself? I don't know. So I'll think about that. I might give that a try.
Okay, cool. All right, well, my sister-in-law is saying that I'm stuck, but on my joint, I'm still going. So I hope.
Yeah, you're still going for me too.
Lil said this is an amazing
interview.
Some wordplay for you to hear said that they miss hearing you spit.
I appreciate that, brother.
The love, like I said, I had to ignore. So if you commented something and I didn't respond, it's because when I do these, I really want to be able to focus on the conversation. I've always been someone who prefers one-on-one conversations as opposed to group conversations. But the one-on-one conversations, so much comes out of it. It's so enlightening and refreshing that I thought it would be cool for people to be able to be a fly on the wall with some of the conversations that I have with these interesting and amazing people.
And I want to say, Charles, real talk for anybody that does not know you. This is Charles all the time. This is Marcello all the time. He asks these kinds of questions. He will pop up in my inbox and just have a question.
Yeah.
And it's a question that I got to think about for a few minutes before I can answer. So get to know this brother. Like I'm not hyping you because I love you. I'm loving you because you hype. Like you really are an amazing person. And to even have this idea to just give a platform to regular everyday people says a lot about who you are. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. The one thing that somebody said you picked the right one this time. The one thing that I would simply ask of anybody out there who ends up following me or wants to be interviewed by me or wants to talk to me or wants to have a conversation, I have reached a point to where I'm really good at listening to opinions that I absolutely disagree with and not getting into my feelings about it, right? And
If you can't do that, leave them alone.
Yeah, well, you know what? Some people I'd be willing to go back and forth with, you know what I'm saying? But it has to be respectful. And so, because I'll tell you now, I'm giving you fair warning. If you follow me, and I don't post a lot of political stuff, but I may post something you disagree with. It's okay. You probably post something that I disagree with.
Yeah.
I will come through and like all your other stuff. I may even hit you up in your inbox and be like, hey, explain this to me. I don't understand. So be willing.
Yes, that.
Go ahead.
See, I got to take my gripe. She said, he forces you to find the greatness within yourself and holds you accountable for it. That's why she your wife, because she know you. That is you. Yeah. That is you right there. That is you.
And to be, yes, I agree. And my kids get it too, right?
Yes.
It's not that I'm a self-hater. It's not that I hate black people. It's not that I hate black women. It's not that I hate black men. It's not that I'm a cop and I think all people are criminals. And I don't hate white people. I don't hate anybody. I believe in humans. I believe we all are God experiencing ourselves in the physical form. And the idea that you are lesser than what you really are fucking eats at me. And I cannot have it. I can accept failure. I cannot accept not trying. So if you come to me on some woe is me shit, I've gotten better. I've read my books on emotional intelligence. So I'll be like, yeah, I understand that, you got some stuff going on and all of that. But at some point down the line,
you got to own it.
You're going to have to tighten up. This shit ain't for the weak. Let's go. Go home and be weak for 2-3 days. Do what you need to do. But when you come back out,
ready to fight.
You got to be ready to go because this shit is war. Regardless of what side you think you on or whoever your allies and your enemies are, this shit is war. You got to be great.
Absolutely.
No excuses. Does anybody have, this is the most views I've ever had, so I don't want to get cut off. Does anybody have anything else before we roll, follow? What is your joint? You changed it. It's still just me _ just better. Follow her there. Greatest poet of all time. A dear, dear friend of mine. This will be on YouTube. Follow her, follow me. I do this every Friday at 7 p.m. So if you want to get with me, hit my inbox. And I don't ask any shot questions. If you tell me something's off limits, if you're going through a divorce and you don't want to talk about your divorce, that's cool. I'm not, this is not trying to do anything crazy. Appreciate y'all for listening in. Melissa, I always end it like this. I love you. I appreciate you. I think you're great. I think you're doing great things. And I'm all out on this one. The poem just ended it. I'm good.
I'm glad. I love you. I love the kids and the wife. Please give my love to everybody. Kiss cheeks for me and stuff. Crystal, if you're still on here, and if I'm praying I remember you correctly with the seafood, right? That's Crystal?
Mm-hmm.
Crystal girl, I'll be home in November. And then I'll be back in December. We're going to talk about them.
Somebody want to know that you're still Nick, and somebody else said, are there really black people? In my opinion, honestly, and I don't really go into this a lot, to me, black is a color. You know what I'm saying? Black is a color.
Race is a construct.
Yeah,
it's a construct.
And I just think that it's a trap, right? Because identifying as black comes with certain good and bad preconceived notions. Yeah. Just like being white or anything else, right? And I'm not just talking about black people, I'm talking about the whole human race. We are so much more than the color of our skin. But I get it.
And can I add to that and say that while I absolutely know that race is a construct, it is the construct in which we live. And so if we're going to live in reality, if we're going to have my baby, hi!
Hi.
If we're gonna live in the reality, then we have to deal with the reality we're living
Right.
in. That's
Right.
my thought. Hi, Libby. How you?
Good.
You're so pretty. How your little sister?
Good. She sleep.
Do you like being a big sister?
Yes.
Very good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear it.
I knew she was coming. She said, "Oh, they
I'm
about to
glad
shut
she
it down.
did.
You better get up there. I better go. Y'all better get up there."
I think you should end every show like that.
I'll try my best. Yeah, I could do it for the most part because she stay up late on. I'm off on Friday. She'd be like,
Yep.
"Well, you got to go to work at night." Now, well, can we play
Yep.
Roblox? Can you watch YouTube with me?
I'm with that. I think Libby should close out every show.
All right, Libby, you got anything to say before we go?
Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
See y'all later.
Later.